The Constitution of India. Preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution.
Happy morning, students. I hope you all are doing good in your house, safe at home, taking care of your health as well. Now today's chemistry class, for a change, I would like to sing few lines from one of my favorite song from Tamil movie. Definitely it has got a beautiful meaning and a message, so kindly bear with me, and here it goes. ஒவ்வொரு பூக்களுமே சொல்கிறதே வாழ்வென்றால் போராடும் போர்க்களமே, ஒவ்வொரு விடியலுமே சொல்கிறதே இரவானால் பகலொன்று வந்திடுமே, நம்பிக்கை என்பது வேண்டும் நம் வாழ்வில், லட்சியம் நிச்சயம் வெல்லும் ஒரு நாளில், மனமே ஓ மனமே நீ மாறிவிடு, மலையோ அது பனியோ நீ மோதிவிடு. See, this is a beautiful song which has got a wonderful meaning, giving us that life will be full of challenges and obstacles. See that now we are at present facing the most difficult situation, coronavirus, that is COVID-19, which has put everybody in an isolated place, that we couldn't meet each other how we used to enjoy when we come to school. So the only thing that we should develop is self-confidence. Be confident, believe in yourself, have faith in yourself, and whatever challenges or obstacles come, that is not the end. You get started right away now, children, because the moment you start your journey, in spite of all the obstacles around you, you will be more stronger, you will be more skilled, and you will become more and more successful in your life. So this is what I want to tell all my children. Believe in yourself, children. That's the most important thing we should develop at this point of time, right? Challenges always come up in your life. Face the obstacles, because you cannot hide yourself. So face the obstacles and become successful in your life, children. Okay, so let's begin our chemistry class for today. We have completed our 4th chapter and we have done the recap also. So we are getting into our 5th chapter, compounds of non-metals. So now let us begin the 5th chapter. We are going to start with compounds of non-metals. Last chapter we were studying about metals. It's refining completely about metallurgy process, right? So this chapter is about non-metals. When I say non-metals, we know P block consists of non-metals actually, right? The right side of the periodic table. So here in this chapter, we will be studying about some of the non-metals, that is the compounds formed by the non-metals. Now one such compound is ammonia. See, ammonia, we have been hearing this in most of the chemical fertilizers that we use for agriculture purpose, where it is very important because the nitrogen content is very essential for the growth of plants. So that is how ammonia is being used. Now the chemical formula for ammonia is NH3. One nitrogen atom and 3 hydrogen atom makes ammonia. Now how it is prepared, you can also prepare it in the classroom, but since we don't have this calcium chloride at present right now. I couldn't do it. Definitely I'll be posting the video for it. So ammonium chloride, when it is treated with calcium hydroxide, we get calcium chloride, water and ammonia. I repeat, ammonium chloride, when it is treated with calcium hydroxide, we get calcium chloride, water and ammonia. This you have studied in your 9th standard, how it is prepared, this preparation. Now when this ammonia gas is prepared, produced as a product, now this is sent through a drying tower. Through a drying tower, this ammonia gas is sent, where in the tower we have calcium oxide, CaO. What is the use of calcium oxide is, it is called as a drying agent. What is the role of a drying agent? To remove the water content. So this will absorb the moisture that is present in ammonia. When this ammonia gas is sent through the drying tower, the calcium oxide which is present, what happens? It will start absorbing, taking all the moisture that is present in the ammonia gas and makes it only as a moisture free. That is, water content will not be present in the ammonia gas. Now if you see, this gas jar will be in the inverted position. It is not upright, but it is kept upside down. Now, what is the reason behind that? Because ammonia is less denser than air. So ammonia being less denser will always be floating on the top. It will rise up immediately. It cannot stay downwards in the glass jar. That's why the jar is inverted, so that the ammonia which is being produced will be at the top of the gas jar and which can be collected simultaneously. So I'll be putting the video right now for you to understand this experiment of preparing ammonia. Then we will get into the next experiment with phenolphthalein.
Small quantities of ammonia exist in the free state in air and water. In the combined state, ammonia exists in the form of ammonium compounds. When ammonium chloride and calcium hydroxide are heated, ammonia gas is evolved. It is dried using quicklime and collected by the downward displacement of air. When ammonia is dissolved in water, we get aqueous ammonia. For this, a funnel is attached to the delivery tube and lightly dipped in water. This provides a large surface area for ammonia to dissolve and prevent the back suction of water into the flask. Magnesium nitride or aluminium nitride reacts with warm water to evolve ammonia gas. The gas is dried using quicklime and collected by the downward displacement of air.
I hope children you are able to understand from the video exactly how ammonia is produced. Now, so the next video which I'll be putting right after this, you have figure 5.2 in the textbook if you can see. Dip the jet tube in the beaker containing water in which some phenolphthalein is added. Phenolphthalein is an indicator. It's an acid-base indicator, means which will determine the acidic or the basic nature of the compound. So what is phenolphthalein? Phenolphthalein is called as an indicator. Now using a syringe, add a few drops of water into the flask in which ammonia is taken. Ammonia being basic in nature, definitely it will have a color change, right? Now what do you observe? You can see their colors, how it is coming out inside the round bottom flask. Now what inference can be made about solubility of ammonia in water? Now do you think ammonia is soluble in water, children? Yes, definitely, because ammonia has a lone pair of electrons. Now you need not worry about it, but you will be learning in the later class. Nitrogen has got a lone pair in it. Only because of that reason, ammonia when mixed with water becomes completely soluble and it forms a compound called ammonium hydroxide. So ammonia when dissolved in water, it forms ammonium hydroxide. Now there is a change in the water color is just because of the basic nature of ammonia. So from this we can understand that ammonia is basic in nature. That's why it changes red litmus into blue color. That's why it is basic in nature. There is an equation given to you. You can complete that. Ammonia plus water giving ammonium hydroxide. Now there is a column given to you in the textbook, page number 81. Color, odor, nature, solubility in water and density of ammonia. What will be the color of ammonia, children? No color, right? It is colorless. What about odor? Odor means smell. It has got a pungent smell. Means you can immediately when you smell it, you will not be able to breathe continuously. It has got a pungent smell that will just affect your breathing capacity. Next is nature, basic in nature. Solubility in water, very high. Density of ammonia, less than that of air. So these are the 5 important properties of ammonia which you should be learning thoroughly as it comes in 1 mark questions for your board exam. Now this is a higher order thinking skill question for you. When ammonia tank leaks, when an ammonia tanker leaks, water is sprayed. Actually water sprayer will be already placed in the ammonia tanker. But when this ammonia leaks, water will be sprayed to reduce the intensity. Why this happens, children? What could be the reason? It is because, as I told you before, ammonia is soluble in water. So if this ammonia leaks, it may cause a disaster. I mean, the smell completely spreads everywhere. So to avoid that, to reduce the intensity of ammonia, immediately water will be sprayed. So this water will combine with the ammonia that is present, makes it soluble, combines with that and forms ammonia hydroxide. So that is how you can reduce the intensity of ammonia by spraying water. A highly concentrated aqueous solution of ammonia is called as liquid ammonia. Very much concentrated solution of ammonia. Aqueous means what? With water. The presence of water and ammonia together in an aqueous state which is highly concentrated, you call that as liquid ammonia. Now liquid ammonia can be liquefied by applying pressure, and liquefied ammonia will be called as liquid ammonia. There are many uses of liquid ammonia. It is used as a refrigerant in ice plants to clean tiles and window panes. One more use you can use for purifying the water supply. Please write in your textbook for purifying water supply. I hope you understood this. Now you will be seeing the video with respect to the round bottom flask experiment.
Ammonia is colorless with a strong pungent odor and a slightly bitter taste. Ammonia is lighter than air with a vapor density of 8.5. Ammonia is not poisonous but may affect the respiratory system. If inhaled in large doses, it may even prove fatal. Ammonia is highly soluble in water, and this can be demonstrated by the fountain experiment. A round-bottom flask fitted with a water dropper and a jet tube is filled with ammonia gas and inverted. The jet tube is dipped in red litmus solution. On squeezing water from the dropper, ammonia immediately dissolves in it, creating a partial vacuum. This pushes the red litmus solution into the jet tube, resulting in a blue fountain as ammonia is alkaline in nature. Ammonia can be easily liquefied at 10 degrees Celsius and 6 atmospheric pressure. Its boiling point is minus 33.5 degrees Celsius and the melting point is minus 77.7 degrees Celsius.
So children, I think now, till now you have been studying about the properties of ammonia and whether it is soluble in water, and also you learnt about the smell of ammonia and the color of ammonia. Now we are just going to do a small experiment on ammonium chloride. See, this is ammonium chloride which I'm going to be in a test tube. So what I will do is, I will take little ammonium chloride and I put it in this test tube. So my test tube is filled with ammonium chloride and I am going to heat it. So what I will do is, I am going to heat it. When I am heating it, you can see small vapors coming out of the test tube. So these are the vapors that are coming out of the test tube, and by the time when the vapors are rising, this is my red litmus. This is my red litmus. I am going to wet it. This red litmus, I am going to show it at the mouth of the test tube. So when I show it on the mouth of the test tube, let's see what happens to the red color. Okay, so I can see vapors coming out. When I am showing at the vapors, see again still the vapors are coming. So when I show this wet litmus continuously on the mouth of the test tube, yes, you can see slowly it is changing into blue, children. Some more I will heat it. Yes. Can you see, children, blue color at the blue patch at the end here? Now I will be continuing this litmus paper. I am going to keep it still at the mouth. Now what happens is that the blue color, the red litmus which has changed into blue, will now get back into red again. Now why it is changing into red is because ammonium chloride, when it is heated, now I think, see, children, can you see now the difference in the color? Yes. Now I'll keep on showing this. Let's see what happens to the color. Now this ammonium chloride, when it is heated, it actually liberates a pungent smell gas. Which is this gas, children? It is ammonia. So this ammonia, what happens, comes out first because it is lighter. So this ammonia, after it comes out, it changes the red litmus into blue. But then what happens, this hydrochloric acid, which is denser, will start coming out. So when it comes out, it again changes the blue color into red. Now you can see again it is completely changed to red, right? So this is just because ammonium chloride, when it is heated, ammonia vapors first comes out. Ammonia gas is being liberated because it is lighter. So it will not be at the bottom, it rises up above the test tube, and those vapors, when the red litmus was shown, we know ammonia is basic in nature, so it changes the red litmus into blue. But then what happens, the blue litmus, when you keep on continuing showing the red litmus, that is the red litmus which has changed to blue, when you keep on showing at the mouth of the test tube, after all the ammonia gas has been evolved, now only HCl gas is remaining. So the HCl gas which is coming out, being acidic in nature, will change the blue litmus to red again. So red changing to blue because of ammonia, and the blue again changes to red because of HCl gas being evolved. So that is given in the test tube, in the textbook for you in page number 82, if you can see, children. Take some ammonium chloride in a boiling tube and heat it. Don't you sense a peculiar smell? Now what is that smell? The smell is because of ammonia, a pungent smell. Now when you show a wet red litmus at the mouth of the boiling tube, what change can you observe? The red changes to blue. Please write, children. And this indicates the basic nature of the gas. Which gas it is? Ammonia. Haven't you made sure that this gas with a pungent smell and the basic nature is ammonia? Now keep the litmus paper for some more time at the mouth of the boiling tube. You can see the change again, the blue color changing to red. Now why it is? Because the wet litmus paper has changed again to red color due to presence of HCl, hydrogen chloride gas. When ammonium chloride is heated, lighter ammonia gas comes out first, then the denser HCl gas. Now we'll be writing the equation and we'll be continuing our class in the classroom. I hope you are able to follow it, the basic nature and the acidic nature of HCl. Okay, children, you would have understood the video and also the experiment that is done in the lab to understand the basic nature of ammonia. So, and that when we are doing the experiment in the lab, if you would have noticed, ammonium chloride was giving ammonia and HCl. So nothing but ammonia and HCl will combine to form ammonium chloride. So to confirm that, we are going to have a small experiment where we will take a glass tube. We are going to take a glass tube and both the ends we are going to dip cotton. That is, we are going to insert cotton. At one side it is going to be dipped in hydrochloric acid and at the other side it is going to be dipped in ammonia solution. So both the end we are going to close it using a cork. So this is a cork which is making sure that it is tightly packed, that the cotton does not move out of the glass tube. So one end I have cotton dipped in HCl, other end I have cotton dipped in ammonia. And after some time, what is happening? This hydrochloric acid will combine with the ammonia that is present inside the glass tube and it together forms ammonium chloride. So this ammonium chloride presence is being confirmed by the thick white fumes which are formed inside the glass tube. You can see white fumes. You can see the textbook figure 5.3 children, where you can see white fumes dots which are formed inside the glass tube. That indicates the formation of ammonium chloride. And if I am going to heat only the portion where the white fumes are formed, assume that I am going to show the Bunsen burner under this thick white fumes, what is going to happen? You will observe these white fumes will disappear. The white fumes which have been formed by the combination of ammonia and hydrochloric acid will disappear. And how do they disappear? When ammonium chloride is going to disappear, it will definitely form two important compounds. They are ammonia and HCl. When I was showing the experiment in the lab, I would have told you ammonia being less denser will come up first, will rise up first from the test tube, and then hydrochloric acid, which is little bit denser than ammonia. So the less denser ammonia rise up first. That's why when the red litmus was shown, it changed into blue. After some time, the blue color again changed to red is because of the hydrochloric acid which is being formed again at the mouth of the test tube. So this ammonium chloride, when it is being heated, disappears to form ammonia and hydrochloric acid. So if I am going to combine these two equations, you can see both the equations are same. Ammonia plus HCl gives ammonium chloride, or ammonium chloride is going to give ammonia and HCl. So if I am going to take these two equations, I can write as ammonia chloride giving ammonia and HCl, and at the back equation or backward equation as ammonia plus HCl giving ammonium chloride. So this sign where the arrow at both the ends, we call it as a reversible sign. Such equations are called as reversible equations. So now we'll study about reversible and irreversible reactions. We were seeing about ammonium chloride giving ammonia and HCl, and again ammonia and HCl combining to form ammonium chloride, and we saw something called as a reversible sign. So there are two types of reactions where we have reversible reactions and irreversible reactions. Reversible. See, reversible means where the reaction can take place in both the directions. What directions are there? We have forward direction and backward direction. We know always there are reactants which are combining to form the products. So in the forward reaction, the reactants will change to the products, and in the backward reaction, the products will give back the reactants. So example, I can tell you, nitrogen combines with hydrogen to form ammonia. That's a Haber's process which we have already studied. So nitrogen combines with hydrogen to form ammonia, and even ammonia can decompose to form nitrogen and hydrogen respectively. So this reaction can take place in both the directions. Another example is, you can see hydrogen combining with iodine to form hydrogen iodide. And again hydrogen iodide, when it decomposes, it forms hydrogen and iodine respectively. So these are some of the examples where the reaction takes place in both the directions, or I can say the reactants can be changed to products and the products can also give back the reactants. Now we will study about irreversible reaction. From the name, it is very well understood that these reactions cannot take place in both the directions. It takes place only in one direction, that is forward direction. Only the reactants will change into products, but the products do not give back the reactants. That's why I say forward reaction take place, but the backward reaction does not occur. Examples you can see: carbon combining with oxygen to form carbon dioxide. Only the forward reaction occurs, but the carbon dioxide will not give carbon and oxygen. The decomposition do not take place immediately. Then another example I can show you here is sodium chloride. When it combines with silver nitrate, it forms sodium nitrate and silver chloride. Again, the reaction takes place only in one direction, that is forward direction. Backward direction is not possible. So such reactions where the reactants can be changed to products, but the products do not give back the reactants, we call them as irreversible reactions. So I think children, today you were able to understand whatever is being taken, that is ammonia, how it is prepared in the lab, and also through round bottom flask. We studied about the basic nature of ammonia in the laboratory experiment, and then also reversible and irreversible reactions. So the next class we will learn about chemical equilibrium. So till now, if you have any doubts, please call me. Don't hesitate to do that. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you children. Take care.